Welcome to Ghosted by the Machine, the podcast where job seekers break through the algorithm and get heard. No filters, no bots, just 5 minutes of truth. I'm your host, Mark Lane, and today we're giving the mic to someone who's actively searching, actively showing up. Let's get into it. 5 minutes, 5 questions with today's guest, Dave Paulson, a healthcare technology leader from Ozark, Missouri, who's currently looking for a role that furthers patient access to care through technology. Good day, sir. How are you doing today, Dave?
Doing great, Mark. Thank you for having me on.
Well, let's start. Your first question today is, who are you? What kind of work are you looking for? And how long have you been on the job hunt?
Sure. Well, I'm Dave, or if you've seen my resume, David. Please don't reject me if you don't recognize the name. Either way, don't keyword me into one of those two, please. Dave Paulson. I live right in the smack dab middle of the country in the heart of the Ozarks, and I have been in healthcare information systems, healthcare technology, enabling patient access to quality, low-cost care through technical solutions for all of my career, 25 years now. I have been on the job hunt now for about 5 months since a mass series of layoffs at my former employer that unfortunately I was caught up in. So here I am.
Well, here you are. And what's been the most surprising or frustrating part of your job search so far?
Well, I think, Mark, one thing I've really been surprised by is the complete lack of feedback that you get at every stage, right? You'll submit an application. You'll submit your resume. You may get nothing. You may hear nothing. You may get an automated rejection the next day with no reasoning, right? You may get an automated rejection in 2 weeks. You may get a first level interview, but with no feedback. And they're really good at not giving you their email address. It's hard to get a hold of them. You can figure that out. You may get a second level interview with even a hint that there will be going to the next level, but get no feedback. It is hard to understand where you're missing the mark without feedback. So that has been my biggest surprise, is just you can tailor and fit and do everything you can to make yourself look like the most attractive candidate, but without knowing where you are not fitting, without knowing where you're missing, it's really hard to improve.
And receiving those Dear John letters at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, letting you know that you haven't passed the test, that tends to hurt. And you have no idea what they're looking for or what you're missing. And that leads us to the next question. How has AI or automation impacted your experience? Has it helped, hurt, or just made things more confusing?
That's a great question. It's interesting. I try to take a view of this. First of all, I'm in technology. I have built systems that utilize AI for healthcare. I'm not anti-AI. I think it's a wonderful tool. And just like any other tool, as long as it's properly used, it's great. Just like you could misuse a hammer, you could potentially misuse AI. And I talked to some folks in recruiting and HR and talent acquisition, and there's different levels of feedback about how AI and how ATS and keyword filtering is used. And some places will tell you that a human looks at everything. And, if they tell me that, I'll take them at their word. And some places will say, no, there's definitely some filtering going on. So it's hard to know where in the process the problem is. Is the process, if a human is looking at it, are they just simply not trained to recognize, maybe in my technology, certain technology terms that might be interchangeable with others or be transferable to other, with other skills. But I would say that I had one experience where I was very well aligned with the position in my field. All of the things lined up, location lined up, salary, all of the qualifications, the long checkbox of qualifications. I got rejected for it within 24 hours. So no feedback. I hunted down someone. I said, I understand, I'm not questioning your decision, but could you please look into this and give me some feedback as to why I was rejected? And they were very kind, very polite, and they said, yes, we were able to look it up, and you were missing one word, one term. And I won't go into what the term is, but just say one term. And I thought about the term that was missing there, and I looked at my resume, and I had used another term that meant the exact same thing. And I recognized then that whether it was a human looking at it or more likely a keyword filter through the ATS, that somehow that I was a 97% match when I needed to be a 99% match, that there was a problem there, because if someone understood, they would know that those two words are interchangeable. Now, I own it, right? I'll say, look at it like, okay, boy, when they call out a specific technology or specific thing and they call it by a name, you might as well take the time to craft that and call that out specifically. So I took responsibility for that. But I also think that that's indicative of a problem somewhere in the process, and whether it's AI, just basic keyword filtering, or some other breakdown, that good candidates are potentially, or in my case, I believe sincerely, being filtered out just based on misapplied criteria.
That's horrible, but we don't know that because in most cases they don't give us any feedback.
Yes, and they're underwater, and I understand that, right? They have thousands of resumes to go through, but some level of feedback, right? And I explained it to someone that if you're making a judgment on who goes in the inbox and who goes in the outbox, that judgment is based on something. Have 10 items in a drop-down box. Pick which item it was that prompted that judgment and include that in your feedback. There are ways that it could be done in a fashion that is not so laborious in the recruiters, but some kind of feedback is going to be critical to making this process work better for everybody.
What's one skill, strength, or quality that doesn't always come through on a resume or LinkedIn profile?
Well, I think that it's really tough to put that together on a resume or LinkedIn profile. But what I've found that my superpower is to help other people see their superpower and to achieve their potential. Career development, growth, understanding where they need to grow, what it is, what steps that they need to take, specific actionable steps they need to take to become the best version of their professional self. And then also doing that at the macro level, taking those individual superheroes that we just created and creating the Justice League out of them and building high-performing teams that are harmonious, that are synchronized, and that are using their skills in such a way that they become worth more than the sum of their parts. That is very hard to come across on your LinkedIn profile and on your resume. But where it can come across, and where I do point everybody, and I would suggest that everyone start to develop this, it comes across in my LinkedIn resume recommendations, which I've started to treat just like letters of reference. Sure. And if you go and you look at my nearly 40 of those, then you'll start to see that superpower. And it's not told by me, it's told by the people that I've worked with, the people that I've worked for, the people who have worked for me. And I think that that's an effective way to help get that across. But that would be, Mark, that I would say that my superpower, that's what I bring, doesn't always come across on the page.
So what's keeping you hopeful right now, personally or professionally, as you keep moving forward?
Well, my faith is keeping me hopeful. I know that my career story did not end with a layoff. And there are plans for me, and those plans are not totally in my control, but there is an opportunity waiting for me. So my faith is definitely keeping me positive, keeping me driven, keeping me applying when I often question if anyone is ever reading these resumes or these handcrafted cover letters, but that's what's keeping me hopeful. And also, when I look back at 25 years that I've had in this industry, I am very old, I guess. There was a lot of successes there, a lot of good moments, and the more opportunity I have to get in front of folks and to talk about those, I know that my story will come through. So those things keep me hopeful, and I hope that this discussion can bring some positivity and bring some light to other folks that are in the same position that we're in as we're working through the machine.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're doing this show, is to get the message out there and get these stories out there, hopefully to people that are going to listen and take it seriously. I thank you again, Dave, for being with us today. Now, if you're hiring or know someone who he should meet, check out their LinkedIn profile in the show notes. If you want to be on the podcast, email me, DM, or comment on LinkedIn or our social platforms. We're always looking for real voices in the ghost town of job search silence. This is Ghosted by the Machine. Let's make hiring human again. Thank you again, Dave. We appreciate it.